Hey y'all, welcome to Stivers Homestead. I'm Zach.
I'm Jen.
And today is canning round number 2.
Yep.
And so we are doing squash relish. This one's a little bit longer than the pickled okra if you caught the last video, because you do have to let it sit overnight. But it's really exciting. Mark at the house on Avery Road, our good friend, actually did this video on a recipe. And we thought it looked so delicious, he actually even gave us a can when we were down in Tennessee.
Yeah.
But we're going to use his recipe, excuse me, and tweak it some to make it our own.
Yeah.
So definitely make sure to check out his video. We'll link that down below. And then we hope you enjoy this one.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's go. Okay, so Jen's cutting, and we're going to talk about some of the ingredients that we're adding into there. I got the chicken bowl. So first off, squash, right? We're doing, I think, about 6 pretty large squash. Let me try to pull one up here. So that's one of the smaller ones, but a lot of this is from when he's on vacation and they just got way too big. So we're doing about 6 fairly large squash, and then a slew of peppers. So we are using 3 of our yellow monsters, so it's 3 very large green bell peppers. We're throwing in a couple jalapenos, just 2 of them. And the reason there's only 2 of those is because we're doing 3 Sugar Rush peppers. So that's your heat. Sugar Rush are hot pepper, but they have a nice little sweet flavor with them.
Now, Mark didn't do any heat.
No, he didn't do any heat.
But we like heat.
That's right. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 banana peppers. I wish we had one more to make it 10. But we got 9 banana peppers that are going into it. And then there might be some other stuff that we're looking around that we might throw in veggie-wise. This is one of those to where it's like, what can we get rid of and throw in here?
What can we clear off the table?
Exactly. So there might be a zucchini that gets tossed in there. You never know. But that's the first step. Get all of your veggies cut up and hope Jen doesn't cut her finger.
First wash, then cut.
Oh yeah, first wash. And then don't cut a finger off.
And then don't cut a finger. Okay, so we chopped up, diced up all of our squash. It was a lot. How many do you think? 6?
I think so.
Pretty large squash. And I did have to...
Show them that big one right there.
Yeah, I didn't end up doing this one.
But it was sizes like that.
Yeah. I did end up scraping out some of the seeds because they're big and there was a lot of seeds. And then we did 3 yellow monster bell peppers, green bell peppers. They were about this big, about that fat.
Bigger than your normal size bell pepper because it
chopped up those, and then I did probably 10 or so banana peppers, chopped those up, 2 jalapenos, about 4 Sugar Rush peaches, which are spicy, and then a whole sweet onion. It was pretty large, and all of it is in this bowl.
That is it's going to be a relish.
It's a lot. It's going to make a lot.
It is going to make a lot.
I thought it was going to take more of the squash, but it did not.
It's when you have them big ones, it's okay. Okay, while she's getting the next step set up to show you all, I've got to talk about a Sugar Rush pepper. It is so good. So they are hot. However, when you bite into it, you immediately get a flavor of just sweetness. It hits you. Oh, there's green beans there. We got harvest everywhere. She just tripped over the big bucket. Sugar Rush, it's a big burst of sweet that you immediately get. Then it gets hot just right after that, just real quick after. But it holds on very, very little amount of time. I would say it's as hot, if not a little hotter than a jalapeno.
I don't think it's as hot.
I think it's a lot. But you get such a sweet flavor with it, which is unlike most hot peppers. So if you've never grown them before, definitely give it a try. If you have grown them or you have ate them, let us know some of the recipes you put your Sugar Rush peppers in. Because this is honestly our first one that we've done it, and we think it's going to make it fantastic.
All right, now I'm going to use some pink Himalayan salt. You can use canning salt or pickling salt. And I'm going to put about 4 to 6 tablespoons of salt on here. So what this is going to do, this is just like when you can your pickles. You put salt all over the pickles and let them sit for 24 hours, and that salt dries out all the moisture, because then they're not as soggy and gross and not watery and all that. So we're gonna do the same thing for this. Cover it, put it in the fridge until tomorrow, probably the same time tomorrow we'll have time, and then we'll go on about the rest of the recipe.
Yeah, so just make sure to toss it and get everything coated. Get a spoon. All right, y'all. She's gonna get the tossing, and we'll see y'all in the morning. Good morning. It is the next day, and we are Already in progress. Jen is getting ahead of the game over here for us to get the squash relish ready. So you want to tell them what you're doing?
Yeah, so it sat overnight in the salt. All the water drained to the bottom. It did really, really well. Now I'm just rinsing it all really good. You can either rinse it or soak it. I'm just going to rinse for quickness and very thoroughly, because you don't want a whole bunch of salt left on it. You want to get all that off. It was just to get the moisture out. Okay, now we're gonna make our brine, which I'm gonna put in that large pot. So we're gonna do, I'm still trying to figure all this out because Mark's recipe was different and I have more, so I'm trying to like convert stuff, but I think I've got it down. So we're gonna do 2 cups of apple cider vinegar and then 2 cups of water. Okay, 2 cups of water. All right, next is 3 cups of sugar. I'm using cane sugar. All right, so the next part's a little different. It calls for celery seed. I don't have any celery seed, so I'm gonna use celery salt. So I was gonna do 2 teaspoons of celery seed, but since it's salt, I'm gonna reduce it because I don't want it to be super salty. So we're just gonna do 1 teaspoon. But if you have celery seed on hand, then do 2 teaspoons.
Yeah, and this doesn't, I don't think there's really anything else that's salty that's going in here, so a little salt doesn't hurt.
All right, next we're gonna do 2 teaspoons of ground mustard. Next we're gonna do 2 teaspoons of turmeric. Next is 1 teaspoon of ground nutmeg.
And I'm getting better. I will add the ingredients list down below in the description. Now that I said it, I'll probably forget.
And then 1 teaspoon of black pepper. Okay, so we've got this turned up on high. We're gonna whisk it together, and then we're going to bring it to a good full boil.
Broil. You want to say broil.
Full boil.
Broil.
Full boil.
Broil.
Boil. Boil.
Full boil. And then what, we're going to move it down to the simmer after that?
Don't worry about the next step.
My
We're gonna get
bad.
there when we get there. That's
Right.
You just thought you were in the what's next?
All right, all they need to know is just bring it to a broil.
Nope. Boil.
All right. So in the meantime, while everything else is going, you want to make sure that your canner and your jars are ready. So what we're doing is they need to be hot anyways, but you also want to sterilize them because these are clean jars, but you want to get them in the hot boiling water, let them run for a couple minutes, and then take them out, and then you have your nice sterile jars. So just remember to do that in every aspect of canning.
Look who showed up. Mohawk and all.
Mohawk and all. Put him out here in the country and he don't care. Mohawk fella.
Don't care, I'm keeping it. I don't care what it's think.
Wyatt's got a mohawk too.
He does.
Must be a thing.
Must be a thing.
All right, we have come to a boil, so I'm just stirring it up real quick, and then we're gonna put our veggies in.
Hey, babe.
Huh, what?
What's after that?
Melt. Too splash.
Little splishy splash.
No, we don't want. No.
Oh, that's definitely splishy
We
splash.
don't want the splishy splash.
Okay. Right now.
I'm helping.
So Zach's put it in because I didn't want to splash it. And Jen's holding a shield.
Captain America over here.
I'm helping.
Oh, lordy day. How many people does it take?
Doing things.
Okay, veggies are in, and now we are going to bring this back to a boil with the veggies in it. All right, we are boiling, so now we're going to take it down to a simmer and let it simmer for 15 minutes. Okay, so we've got our jars set up, and we're going to start ladling this into our jars and see how many we get. Okay, so we got 7 pints, actually 8, but we're gonna leave 1 for the fridge because it's not all the way full. So 7 pints out of all that. I think that's really, really good. So now we're gonna wipe our rims with a rag that has vinegar on it, and we're gonna put our tops on fingertip tight. One more thing, make sure you have inch headspace. That's what you need for this recipe. And then we're gonna get them in the canner. Make sure your jars are covered by at least an inch of water while your lids are covered, and you're going to bring it back to a boil. You're going to put your lid on and you're going to set a timer for 15 minutes. All right, 15 minutes is up. We are going to turn off our stove, our burner, and we're going to take the lid off and let them adjust a little bit to room temperature for about 5 minutes. Also multitasking with homeschool. All right, spell pink.
P-I-N-K.
Spell drink.
P-I-N-K.
Spell think.
P-H-I-N-K.
Spell honk.
Okay, it is now the next day. We was waiting for them to cool down so we can handle them, basically. And here is the squash relish.
Ooh, it's really, really good. We actually had some left over that didn't fill up the full jar, so we ate some on our baked chicken last night for dinner, and it was yummy.
It was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, can't wait to eat this all year.
Basically, any kind of meat that you have, especially like chicken, brats, hot dogs, stuff like that, you can sprinkle this on top. Anything that you'd put normal relish on, and it adds an amazing sweet flavor to any meal that you have. So it's really awesome. But that's not all that we've been doing in this day. It wasn't just squash relish. We thought we'd show you some of the other things we've been canning that we already have videos on. So we'll link those down below if you're interested. But it has just been a crazy canning week. Her and I were just kidding. We're finishing the filming of this video on Thursday. But this week has gone faster than our vacation week.
I don't even know where it went.
Every time we look up, it's like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock.
The day's
8 o'clock, and the day's going like, man, where did the day go between me working and us doing this canning in between? It's been a fast week, but that is awesome because it all pays off when it all goes in the pantry.
Yeah.
All right, so here's some of the other stuff we've been canning. So we canned some bread and butter pickles with a little spicy kick to them. So those bread and butter pickles, Jen does already have a video for it, and we will link that down below. The only thing I think we added differently, sorry, I guess you got the cut here. The only thing we added differently was the red pepper flake this time, didn't
Yeah,
we?
we put some red pepper flakes in it to spice it up a little bit, hopefully.
Yeah, so I think you did a teaspoon?
Yeah.
I would do 2. But that's if you just want a little bit of heat in your bread and butter, because bread and butter is just a little on the extra sweet side to me. She loves them, and the kids love them. So if you want a little kick, add a little red pepper flake. Y'all hear the popping behind? That's something that's actively happening.
And we've been canning squash. So we had all of that squash from the garden and we decided to can it. Squash is not one of those things that is recommended to can unless you're pickling or making a relish or something like that. However, we've always done it. It's safe for our family. We know the do's and don'ts. So it's another way to preserve it and not have to freeze it because our freezer is full. And we have some squash and zucchini in the dehydrators.
Yep.
And we've been making, dehydrating those to have for chips or for saving for the winter time. You can use them as a thickening agent, like in place of flour or anything like that for soups and stews. So those are going to be really good. I actually need to get them out here in a second, and we're going to put those in mason jars and then vacuum seal the top so they'll be safe.
Yeah, that's really cool too. And I had to show this. Tomatoes just keep coming in, and we're starting to get some of these great white tomatoes, and they are so pretty. I love them. I can't wait to eat them. We had us another red one. We're kind of going for whichever one is getting overripe at the time, and that's the one we eat. But we've been eating the fire out of all the tomatoes. We also, to get prepared for tomorrow, because tomorrow's going to be a big day, is we have snapped all of the green beans. And now I wanted to show you all one thing about green beans. So green beans, you have string and stringless green beans. So what that means is on the edge or the sill of each green bean it's either gonna have a string that's basically holding it together or not. If you're canning, it's obviously better to do stringless green beans just because it saves you a lot of time. However, if you are canning or if you're doing anything with green beans and you're new to them, you want to pull that string off because that's what makes it tough. So what I do is you just break it, watch out, and then when you pull back, see how it's pulling that string off? See if I can get it to focus there. Maybe. Anyways, and then you can pull it back this way. And so this one we've already done for the most part. But then you would take your tip and do the same thing. So in the video we're doing tomorrow, which you all will see at some point, we'll get a little bit more detail about that, but I wanted to go ahead and show you. So green beans and then taters. And then last night we harvested the rest of our potatoes. It ended up being about 150 pounds of potatoes, and it was absolutely amazing. Look at these Yukon Golds. They were huge. So it has been non-stop busy around here. We hope you enjoyed the Squash Village video, but there's plenty more that are coming. What you doing, babe?
Trying to fit this canner somewhere.
So that's our water back canner. I'm in your way. Let me back out of your way. So we got the pressure canner going now. We had a few questions on if we do both. There are rules between the two. So if you're wondering which one it is, the best is to follow any kind of canning.org sites, whatever they are, or the ball canning book.
The USDA website, Home Food Preservation. There's all kinds of good information out there that will teach you the do's and don'ts.
Yeah.
The recipes we share are all safe. They're all from the ball book or the website, and
well, with a little twist from us, but
yeah,
it's part of being an experienced canner.
Yeah.
You know, if you're new to it, you can follow what we do on our recipes.
Because the ones we show you are safe. Now,
yeah,
we do others that we feel are safe for us, but we would never recommend that to you guys.
Right. Yeah, and so that's the biggest thing. If you're beginning out, just follow the ball canning book, which we'll link that down below if you're like, what is that? Or you can follow our recipes. Just make sure you're doing it at the right pounds of pressure for the right amount of time, because that's a lot depending on elevation. Mm-hmm. So canning is not scary once you've put time into it.
Right. You've got to dive into the world of it, get yourself comfortable, have many years of experience, because there are still things to learn even after you've been doing it for a really long time. But the most important part is experience and just getting your feet wet and doing it and starting.
And y'all might be looking at us like, you 30-year-olds and talking about experience. Well, I know that sounds silly, but we've been doing this for 7-8 years. She's been doing it her whole life, but for me about 7-8 years. So we do have experience when it comes into it. So you can trust what we say. But I hope you all give the squash relish a try. Make sure to go check out Mark's video at the House on Avery Road as well, because he's the one.
His is a little bit different. So if you want to try his or mine or whichever one, but it did come from him. Yeah. This wasn't something that I came up with. That's actually a recipe I've never done. So that was really cool. Yeah. So make sure you follow his and watch all his other videos, because they're all awesome too.
That's exactly right. All right, y'all. My arm is falling asleep holding this camera right now. So if you haven't subscribed, make sure to down below and be ready for the next one. I'm guessing we got salsa verde, green beans and taters, and zucchini bread, which we won't record the zucchini bread because we already did that. Yeah. All right, y'all. I'm done rambling. We love you.
Until the next time.
Bye.
Bye.